I've tracked every single bet that I've placed in 2026, every win, every loss, every edge calculation. Today I'm going to pull up my entire spreadsheet and I'm going to expose absolutely everything to you. My win rate, my ROI, my best bets, my biggest mistakes, and the exact strategy that I use to carry this bankroll throughout this year. Now let's get into it. So let's go ahead and walk through January 1st up until March. All right, so let's take a look at the total profit here. Total profit, we got just under $35,000. Win rate, just about 80%, 79.5%. All right, went 101 and 25. R right at 10%. Unit gained is at plus 12.7. Now this varies because this takes an average of your unit size. So if you had $1,000 unit size, I adjusted accordingly. If you had $1,000 unit size, you'd almost triple this number. Okay, so the unit gain would be up in the 30s. Now the big number here is minus 331 for average odds. Why? Because most sports bettors will never bet odds that look like this. And I'm going to explain to you guys in this video later on exactly why this actually works and why anybody else that teaches you anything else that's different from this doesn't do this full time. They just don't, because they don't actually win. They don't actually make money whatsoever. So I'm going to explain that to you and expose pretty much the entire industry a little bit later in this video. But let's go ahead and let's go sport by sport and see where my best sports were so far this year and my worst sports, because if we start out, a couple of these obviously aren't going to be in season for this, start of the season. But let's take a look at football. All right, football, we kind of caught the tail end. This is the tail end of college football in the NFL. Not too bad. 20-4, 83% win rate, almost 11% ROI there. Look, again, average odds, minus 340. Okay, now let's get to basketball. Basketball, we got 69 and 17, 79% win rate. That's where most of the profit has came so far this year. Okay, almost 22,000 in profit right there. And again, average odds, look, minus 328. This is stuff that your casual sports bettor will not touch. They won't touch bets like this. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at some others. Baseball just started, so we're not going to look at that. Hockey, there's been a couple, 6-2 in hockey. Really haven't did much there. All right, hasn't been too many plays in hockey so far this season. Golf, 4-1 in golf. Not too bad there. The odds in there actually are a little bit lower than the average odds that we play. Let's see, MMA. MMA 1-1. This is the actual one that's taken a loss here, because we've only did 2 plays and we went 1-1 here. And average odds of minus 243, and actually lost $500 in the MMA world. All right, other than that, that's pretty much it. We can go through there, but let's go ahead and take a look at the bet history here. And I want to show you guys exactly how this works and how this breaks down. So take a look here at the odds. Again, odds that sports bettors, your casual sports bettors, will never bet. Why? Because they're scared. They don't understand the process that I'm about to teach you. They just don't get it. They don't understand how you could be profitable and how it could actually work long term. I've been told for years and years that this stuff doesn't work long term, but yet I still show everybody year after year how it does work. That's what the funny thing and the contrary thing is. So let's just take a look at this month, for example. All right, so this month we got what? Average odds for this month are probably higher than what the average odds are for this year, to be honest. Now, look at the losses. We have a couple losses that are in here. Now, when you incur these losses, yes, maybe it takes a couple plays to get them back, because look at the profit margins that we have here. But look what happens when you have the right system in place. You go on these type of streaks here. Like, look at this streak right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 straight games before we lost another game. And then right after that, we go what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Another 11 before we lose another game. So when you go on these streaks, you completely recover any losses that you had. Okay? It doesn't matter how big the loss was, because even right here, look at this at the end of February. We went back-to-back losses on $3,000 plays. Okay? That set me back $6,000. Just that. Those 2 days right there set me back $6,000. So yeah, it took time to gain back. But look, after about a whole week, I was able to gain that back. Slowly. Okay? Slowly it occurs. You're able to get that money back slowly. It takes time. Sometimes you're going to go a week where you didn't make money, or a week where you lost money. But guess what? When you hit those big streaks, that recoups everything, okay? It recoups literally everything. So there's nothing to worry about in this game, because you're winning constantly. Yes, you occur one loss here and there, but your profits over time stack up. The little profits start to stack up. And this is where I'm going to explain a little bit later in this video the difference between when wealthy people invest and broke people gamble. It's the biggest difference in sports betting and the biggest misconception that everybody misses. All right, I'm going to get down to the nitty gritty with that, and I'm going to explain to you exactly what that looks like down on the whiteboard so you understand why it's important to bet this way and why this is the only way that you could actually win. Now again, let's go to the dashboard and let's go ahead and go to February. All right, let's just pull up the month of February. Most people don't believe these type of numbers. Hitting at 86.5%, 32-5 in the month of February. Average odds minus 336, okay? People just don't believe that. They just don't believe that this is even possible. But yet I'm here month after month being able to prove this to you on how this actually works. Now let's go ahead and take a look at March this month. Almost a 90% win rate. This is laughable, right? People are like, there's no way somebody could hit 90%. Guess what? I'm doing it right in front of your guys' face every single day. And that's what the funny part is people still don't believe it, but yet this is the only way to actually make money in sports betting because everything else is gambling. What you're seeing here and what I'm showing you is not gambling. This isn't gambling. This is investing. And this is picking and choosing the right areas to be able to make your bets to where you're going to have the highest probability of winning. Now let's jump over to the whiteboard so I can get more in detail and show you guys this exact strategy. So one of the most important things that I want to show you guys today let's get back to my win rate compared to what I'm betting on, okay? So right now, let's go to the win rate. The win rate was nearly 80%, okay? It was 79.5%. Now my average odds were minus 330, okay? That gives you an implied probability of 76%. So over the course of this year, I've been able to create a 4% edge that is consistently compounded, all right? Consistently compounded, and you've seen the results from that, what happens. You can see exactly what happens when that edge compounds. So what does this mean? What is this an example of? So this is an example of, let's say, a table game, all right? Let's say a table game, for example, there is 10 cups on a table, okay? 8 of them have balls in them. Now, if you pick a cup and it has a ball in it, guess what? You make money. So what this is showing you right here is that this is the game that I'm playing, but it's being priced as there's only 7-point balls in the cups, okay? I have an advantage here because this is what it's being priced at, but this is the realization of what it is that I'm playing with. So you see, over the course of 1,000 times playing this game, I'm going to have a small edge here because it's priced below what my actual value is, which is the same as my edge right here. My edge, okay, is 4%, and that compounds over time. The more plays that I put in, the more I do this. Now, why do most sports bettors not grasp this concept? The reason why is because they're gamblers. They're gambling. What we're doing is not gambling. It's a completely different ballgame. And let me explain to you the reason why behind that. Because let's draw a line here between the wealthy and the broke, all right? We have two different types of people here, all right? So in the sports betting world, this is where we have these two, okay? In the gambling world, that's where we have these two. Let's take a look at the wealthy and what they do, okay? We all know one basic thing that they do, right? Invest their money in the stock market. So let's say, for example, what do? Let's say they take $1 million, right? They throw it in the stocks, they let it sit there, they get 10% each year, right? And it compounds, okay? So let's go ahead and do the math on that. Every single year, starting out, they make what? $100,000, okay? Then the next year, they make more than that, obviously, because it keeps compounding, right? So year after year, theirs just keeps stacking up, okay? They just keep gaining more money on their money. They're essentially putting $1 million to make $100,000, right? That's what they're doing. They put $100,000 in the stock market. They only made 10% on that. They didn't double up. They didn't triple up. They didn't make 5 times their money. They made 10% long term in the entire year. The entire year, that's what they did. What does the broke person go and do? All right? Broke person goes and plays what? The lottery. Why is that? Because they could take, what, $10 and they want to try to turn that into $1 million. So what do we have here? We have a classic case of somebody trying to take small money, turn it into a crazy amount of big money, and then we have big money that just is trying to feed a little bit of small money off of that and gain over time. Guess what happens here? Long term, this guy right here becomes rich, and this guy stays broke. Now let's adapt this to sports betting so I can show you how this looks in sports betting. So let's go ahead and let's use the example between a wealthy bettor and a broke bettor. All right, so wealthy bettor does what? They have a bankroll, similar to the stock market guy, right? Okay, let's say they got $100,000 as a bankroll. What do they do with that? They place the type of bets that I showed you, okay? Type of bets that I showed you where you place a certain amount of money to make a small amount of money, all right? Let's say 5,000 to make 2,000 sometimes, all right? Long term, they play these type of plays. Why? Because they have a plus percentage for an edge. Now, what's the broke bettor doing? They're taking their last $500 to their name. They're betting parlays, all right? They're chasing their bets. They're doing all this stupid stuff, right? They're trying to turn this $500 into $1 million, which is never going to happen. Literally never going to happen, okay? This right here is always a recipe for what they always do, okay? They take their money, they put it in this, they lose it, then they go right back to doing it. It's a circle, all right? It's literally a circle. They do the same thing over and over. They take their money that they have spare change, they put it in parlays, they chase their bets, they lose, they go back, they deposit again. It's the same circle over and over, okay? The wealthy sports bettor, completely different. Manages their bankroll, only bets when there is an actual edge, okay? Slowly gains money over time. And what I just showed you in the tracker is exactly how you actually win in sports betting, okay? This is how you lose. And this is what makes the sports books rich. This is where they become rich and you become broke, okay? Again, wealthy bettor. When they do this over and over, years and years and years, what happens here? This person becomes rich. What happens with this person? This person stays broke. It's the same concept. You have to bring the same concept into sports betting. You have to stop betting and gambling. You have to stop betting in a gambler's mindset. Bring yourself into a investor's mindset. Stay here in this lane, okay, and avoid this lane, because one of these lanes will keep you broke while the other one will stack your money and you'll actually make a substantial amount of money over time. Now let's talk about the strategy, all right? The strategy is called the Linemaker method. Why is it called the Linemaker method? It's because I made it. That's why it's called that, all right? It's very simple. And what it is it's implied probability versus true probability. It's that simple. And what do we do here? We find our edge. Now, it's the exact same as that cup analogy that I used, the cup with the balls, right? Where we're finding an implied probability of, say, 70%, but we want a true probability of 80%, meaning that it's priced as there's 7 out of 10 balls in those cups, but we actually have a chance at 8 out of 10 because there's actually 8 out of 10 in there. So there's a misprice there, all right? There's a price deficiency, and what we do is we exploit that, and that's how we make money, and that's how we gain an edge over time. It's not rocket science. It's pretty simple. And I am actually shocked that people in the world that call themselves sports bettors don't know what I'm even talking about. Why? Because they're gamblers and they want to chase minus 110 bets and they want to gamble. We're not here to gamble. It's not gambling when you know you're going to win. And that's what you see from that spreadsheet that I showed you. It's not gambling. We know we're going to win the majority of the time. So it's not gambling. Now, this obviously varies between sport to sport, but it all is based around that key concept, all right? It's still the same concept here, which is implied probability versus the true probability of that event actually occurring and being able to exploit the edge. That's all it is. That's literally the strategy. It's not rocket science. It's just not. It just differs between each sport and what player props that you're looking at. Now, the biggest thing I see with sports bettors and the biggest mistake is they try to transition this a lot of the times to betting money line plays and stuff like that. You can't really do that because you can't get a true probability on a money line play. Reason why is because there's so many different variables within the game and within the team, because you're betting on a team with a bunch of players. You're not betting on one individual to do one thing or to not do one thing. That's where you make the money at, okay? You make the money between the individual player props, not betting on the money lines. Because yeah, if you go and bet a money line on a team that's minus 800, they still have an opportunity to pretty much lose. Okay? It's happened. It happens all the time. So remember, when you're trying to implement the strategy, stick to player props. When you're trying to smash a bunch of money lines together, you're not going to figure out true probability on a money line play. You're not. You just can't do that. So stick to player props where it's one outcome either is going to happen or it's not. Now, if you want the more in-depth research that I use every single day for every single sport, every single player prop, make sure you guys click the link in the description. As always, I'm Frank with Linemaker Sports. I'll see you guys in the next video. Till then, I'm out.